Hey webheads, today we're diving into the highly anticipated release of Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 5. Strap in and swing along as we explore the exhilarating world of Peter Parker and Miles Morales in this action-packed adventure. Off the bat, I will say this game is a blast. I had so much fun creating this review. The new editions feel sleek, the old editions feel updated, and overall the gameplay is more immersive than ever before. Now, I will say, a very big concern in this game that I've seen on the webs is the price point for the amount of content. Is it concerning? Yeah, sure. However, it did not stop me from paying the price for a fantastic AAA sequel to an amazing franchise. And just as a general reminder, I've ensured to keep this footage as spoiler free as possible. Right out the gate, the intro mission lays some solid groundwork, showing off just what the PlayStation 5 can do when compared to the PS4. For instance, you'll get thrown into cutscenes where some baddie will send you flying, and the speed which the world loads is truly impressive. Now, I know everyone is buzzing about the Traversal changes. In the pre-release footage of the game, I wasn't totally sold on the changes from watching the videos, however, they work, and they work well. The web wings add an extra level of strategy in the process, and being able to slingshot yourself across the map is completely satisfying. Now, combat is same but different. You now have two ability wheels, one which controls your abilities and the other which controls your gadgets. Overall, this is a good change. The abilities for the most part are charming and useful, however the gadgets, not so much. It would have been so much cooler if the game let you pick from say like 8 gadgets and you could choose any 4 to pop up on your quick wheel at any time. This feels like a huge missed opportunity on some really handy gameplay choices. And the 4 we ended up with, well, they're not really my friendly neighborhood choice. Now, I gotta say, these animations are as smooth as butter. Remember how the swing kick in the first game was kinda glitchy? Well, I didn't see any of that this time around. And those finishing move animations were spot on and way more diverse. Love to see. I also noticed that they altered the takedowns not only for the symbiote suit, but also for when fighting bosses, which is detail that you don't see too much in a lot of AAA games. On this point, they expanded the talent tree with one shared tree for the pair and a unique tree for Miles and Peter. I love this idea, however what really does not appeal to me is that the first half of the talents are ones that we've purchased in previous games. I am really against padding skill trees with talents that we already purchased. However, all the new additions are welcomed and they do work wonders. One not entirely new addition but rather a stronger emphasis on a previous edition is the stealth. The game has always had a fantastic approach to stealth and it feels even better here. Coupled with the fact that the game includes a lot of Arkham-inspired stealth rooms, which I absolutely love and could never get enough of. Insomniac Studios clearly studied the best, and even some of the not so great games out there. I found quite a few nods to the Arkham series and the Amazing Spider-Man games, and I am totally here for that. But what is a game without the story? So let's talk about that, but I'm going to keep this section as short as possible to avoid spoiling anything important. So one thing that stands out is how the game builds upon the already awesome characters that we know and love. They get even more interesting, and their development is strong, particularly for Pete and MJ, and not even as a couple, just as two individual characters, and I love this. Now there's one thing I gotta mention. Miles, who was a pretty big deal in the previous game, kinda takes a backseat in this one. He is present, but there are long stretches of the game where he feels like he just exists, well, just to exist. For me, that sucked. But don't worry, the game eventually makes right and gives him his dues. It's a balancing act that goes up and down, but generally comes through in the end. In the last game, we saw Spider-Man facing all sorts of struggles, but in Spider-Man 2, it's more about Peter Parker himself and his personal journey. The story dives deep into Peter's life and his relationships, which makes it feel more focused on the characters. It's not quite as grand, but it's equally as important. However, here's the thing, the story feels like it could have gone on for at least another act, or had more time to explore some of the villains. The pacing is mostly good, but some players might find themselves wanting more development in certain parts of the story, and less development in others. The bad guys in Spider-Man 2 totally have a strong and scary presence that adds depth to the story. But there's a noticeable problem with how the characters are handled, and this becomes apparent. The game spends too much time on certain characters, maybe at the expense of others who deserve their moment in the spotlight too. It reminds me of how the Marvel Cinematic Universe has grown so fast that some characters who used to be super important can end up feeling kinda left out. But in this game it has the opposite effect. There are characters who need more time to make an impact that don't get enough screen time. And Tony Todd's performance as Venom is amazing, but I can't help but feel that this iconic voice could have been used in a much more meaningful way. With a story this strong, it's not a huge gripe, but one that left me feeling bummed out all the same. Alright, so let me bless you with something performance-wise. I was pretty surprised with these results. In the first 35 hours of playing, I ran into quite a few technical issues. The game crashed around 10 times, and there were moments where in-game events were just on a lunch break and did not work, so I had to reload and start again. But hey, I gotta give the credit where the credit's due. The frame rate stayed surprisingly smooth throughout the experience, considering the ray tracing applied, especially when I played in the 60 FPS mode. It definitely added some nice fluidity to the journey. Thankfully, the patches have come to the rescue. It's still a work in progress, but hey, it's holding up better than certain games from earlier this year. No names mentioned, but I'm holding my lightsaber. It shows me that the developers know that there's an issue, and they're dedicated to setting things straight. As an honourable mention, I want to state that I know New Game Plus will be coming, and personally, I don't play New Game Plus for many games, but this is one that I will be. I'm excited to see what the future updates bring for this game, and even though I finished the story and I have done all of the side content available, which honestly didn't take too long, I know that this is not the end of Spider-Man 2. So in a nutshell, I would recommend this game for anyone with a PlayStation 5. However, I would not recommend buying a PS5 just for this game. In saying that, I would recommend owning a PS5, so if you do get your hands on one, then Spider-Man 2, and generally the whole series, is a no-brainer. That's all for now, and remember, every like on this review helps me swing my channel to greater heights, without all the Uncle Ben related issues. See you soon, webheads, and enjoy traversing New York in style.